Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Shad. Oh man, I'm inspired by Anarchy Television. Wignut. He just popped a video out there about a dream he had, which reminded me of a dream I had. If it was a dream, I don't think it was a dream. This happened years ago, and I still remember this dream. It's not a bad dream. It's one of those lucid dreams. I still have memories of this dream. If it was a dream, I think it was more of along the lines of I actually went there. So Wingnut proposes the theory that there's different dimensions and that there's different versions of you in different dimensions. I don't subscribe to that, but there's a possibility there's like different dimensions, right? I could get down with that. You know, the whole Jet Li with the one, going around all the multiverses, just killing himself to be gather all that energy into one vessel, one being, all powerful. But then there's like this multi-dimensional police force. Anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Nor can I say. I could speculate and hypothesize. But I wanted to just get this dream out there, because while I was watching Wingnut's video, it was basically, he had a video. He had a dream about him and his mom going to this like lock-in party, and having a great time and all that stuff. I had something similar, but it was weirder. And there's a song involved. So and something told me, like, I gotta tell this story. I think I'm supposed to tell this story, or at least sing the song, which is an interesting song. And so the dream, or a lucid dream. It was definitely a lucid dream. Set the stage for it. It was a type of bar, but big, extremely big. Like there were upstairs, downstairs. I remember it had old wood, like old, super dark wood. There were some dark places there, and there were some well lit places. It was very colorful. I remember colors. There was a lot of, I want to say, like veterans there. I want to say that. Because I'll tell you later on that I had a meeting in this dream. It's like I went there for a meeting. That I still remember. And I'm still trying to figure it out to this day. But imagine this bar, and it's kind of set. It's kind of like all bars I've ever been to, really. And it kind of makes me think it happened because it was in Okinawa. All right, so Okinawa, Japan. I went to every bar, every brothel. Me and countless others did the same thing. But that was my mission, was to go and just conquest of Okinawa and all its nightlife. I had a fucking blast. Let me tell you, I spent all my money, absolutely broke, and I had a great fucking time and nothing to show for it. Oddly enough, I didn't get an STD. I think maybe I got chlamydia. As far as I got. But anyway, does that experience in real life reality that I had, does that transfer over into this dream? I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of leftover. I know I had an extremely great time. I mean, a blast. Oh man, wow. And I remember I was with some boot camp buddies I'd meet there, and we're like, "Yo, we just got paid. I ain't seen you in like 2 years. Oh, you're over there. Okay, well, guess what? Me and you are gonna take this island again, right? The Marines are gonna take the island again." And so, if you know anything about the Okinawan nightlife, it's you've got your seedy side where you got your buy me drinky girls, and then you got your straight up brothels. You walk in there and, hey, I want to go upstairs, right? It's a great time, right? You meet Mama San, and Mama San says, "Yeah, third door on the left." Her name is Yoko number 6. Oh, okay. So did that play a role in this dream? I think it did. But I've been to so many bars all over the world. Australia, in Australia, Italy, Spain. I mean, Greece. Just different bars all over the world. That's what you do, right? When you're a Marine, you travel and you find a bar. You try to find the best bar or the best party, right? Raves and stuff. And that was the thing too. We would do a lot of traveling. I've never been to Burning Man. I've always wanted to go. No, not so much. I don't like the heat. But I've been to the Ocala. I've been to Tennessee Music Festival. I've been to the Banjo Music Festival. I've been to all these music festivals here in the States, and they're epic. I mean, Ocala, Florida, in itself is absolutely a place of power. Those woods, those swamps, something about it, man. It's just, you can feel the energy. It's crazy, and yeah. So it's a good time, right? It's a good time. Yeah. So I've had a lot of experiences. In this dream, I want to set the stage. It was kind of like all those bars and music festivals all together in one, under one roof. You can drink what you want, eat what you want, smoke what you want, fuck what you want. I mean, it's all there, right? And it's massive, and there's a lot of people there, and it's multi-layered. That's the thing that got me. It was huge, massive. It felt like it was a ship, like an old wooden ship. The wood, the the architecture was like an old dark wood, like almost black wood, like it was treated with something. Big timbers, big huge expansions. Kind of like my ideal place. I like to smoke cigars and sit by the fireplace, and sit in a leather bound chair, and have a scotch and a cigar and have a dimly lit room, filled with cigar smoke. I love that. The whole place kind of had that vibe, but it was a bar. It was a bar slash nightclub. So you could go into one room and it's just straight up rave, boots and pits, right? Then their bar, you could go to the bar. It's well lit. Everybody's hanging out at the bar, and I remember colors. So there was a lot of pretty girls in sparkly, shiny dresses. Like, all right, and there us men were like kind of like that Ernest Hemingway kind of guy, which I don't know. Maybe I inspired to be. Maybe that's what I turned into. I mean, I've had some epic times in bars, right? Where I wasn't even thinking about Ernest Hemingway and that, but it kind of had that vibe. Like, I'm one of these guys, and everybody there kind of felt like one of those guys. Like, we are well versed in the world of bar and good times. So as I'm navigating through this labyrinth of a bar slash club, I'm meeting people and I know them, right? And like I said, I feel like they're like me. People that have been across the world. We have had experiences. We felt like brothers, right? And some women too, right? You know, you look at some of the women, and I had conversations with people in this bar. This is a long ass dream, but was it really a dream? That's my question, because I still remember us to this day. So I remember going into this bar, and I knew I had to be careful, because if I thought it happened, or I went there, right? Everything was speed of thought. So in astral projection, you learn that. Yes, I've done some astral projection accidentally, and then of course with training, which gives you that discipline to observe and not think. Imagine that, not thinking in a dream, because that's what happens. You boom, you go speed of thought, and you know it's faster than the speed of light. So you're there. You know, you think bathroom before I even said it. I'm there. Bathroom. Oh shit. Oh, yeah, I'm in the bathroom. Boom, bar. Boom. Right. So having to slow yourself down and only observe and only interact, right, and have conversations. It's very deliberate, because if your mind falters, you leave. You could possibly leave. Yeah. I knew I didn't want to leave. This is the realization I had in the dream. Or was it a dream? And so I'm navigating this place. I had sex in a dim lit room with some Filipino or Okinawan woman. I don't know. She washed my balls. That might have been a memory that I overtook. I knew I had a drink in my hand. I had a drink. It was cold. I was drinking it. I wasn't getting drunk, but I could. I felt good. I could have a smoke, whatever. But I remember, and the point of view was from me looking through my eyes and moving. I wasn't backed up looking at myself or anything of that nature. It was me experiencing this myself navigating through this place. But my awareness was not like right here, like tunnel vision. It was like I was aware. When I walked into a room, I was aware of 360 degrees of that room. You know, the floor, the ceiling. I could see the floor, the ceiling, and side to side peripheral, and everything in it, all at once. Like I was just looking at you. It was very. You realize you experience that when you're astral projecting. It's a different way of looking, a different awareness, which is hard to do in reality, right? So, damn, the cigarette's already out. Let me get a conversation. So, navigating this bar, and I'm going through everything, you know, all the places and meeting all the people. I'm going to the bars. There's even a deck you can look out on the deck, you know, and go out there. And I remember it was dark. It was nighttime. And the wind was blowing the trees, and it was crazy. I remember these details. Yeah. And there's people hanging out, having conversations, and I can listen in on their conversations. And they're not talking to me; they're just talking to themselves. It was like I was really somewhere, for real. But I was moving at the speed of thought, and I knew I had to have some discipline about me. So eventually I make it into this. I go down this stairwell, this grand stairwell, nice stairs, and to my right is this massive opening, once again of the dark wood, and massive opening to my right, and there's a bar, big fucking well lit bar, and this is where the song comes in. I see somebody. I see somebody I know. And it's kind of one of those places where everybody knew me. And I knew them, but nobody knew name. Nobody said names. It was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. What's up? How are you doing? Blah. And I remember this guy. He was dressed kind of like a cowboy. He had an ascot on. He had a freaking vest on. He had a hat, a cowboy hat, you know. And he's got this. He's leaned up against the bar and he's drinking a drink, you know, and he's got this beautiful brunette next to him, to his left, you know, as I'm facing him, the bar, and she's in like this sparkly silver dress, and she's got a red thing in her hair and red lipstick and just beautiful, right? And he's taking a drink. And yes, I'm going to sing the song. And he's got this southern twang to him. So he goes, I'm going to pass out ends. Every bar and brothel's going to know my name. I'm going to pass out ends. Yoko number 6 will never be the same. And he looks at me when he says that. Because I used to visit a woman named Yoko number 6. I say to you knowingly, Skivvy House Bandit at the time. You know, it was just like one of those things. It was like, hey, Mama-san, how you doing? I need to see Yoko. Yep. Pay your money, you go upstairs, right? You do your business. She washes your balls. You leave. Thank you and good night. I mean, talk about, you know, just professional and hospitality all at the same time. Gotta love it. And so he does this song for me and kind of sings it for me. Like, that's what I did. I've never heard this song before. Have you? So I had to get this song out. There might be more to the song. I don't know. I don't remember. But that's what I did. That song was about me. You know, he sung it for me, I guess. Right? Maybe he was one of the guys that went with me to take Okinawa at the time. I'm not sure. So we have that interaction, you know, and he's like, great to see you, you know, whatever. And then I get surrounded. I get surrounded at the bar by all these other guys. And they're all very, very serious looking gentlemen. You know, different races too. There's a black guy. There's a Chinese guy. There's a Mexican guy. There's a white guy. There's this big guy, a little guy. They're all people, but I know them. I fucking know them. Like, I know them. I feel I know them for a very long time, but they do not look familiar. When I search my memory, I do not remember them. But I still, to this day, remember their faces, remember who they are. And I remember when they approached me and they surrounded me. And they said, we need to go check the things. Like, check the things. And it was like I was kind of drunk or kind of high. I'm not sure. I was drinking in the dream. But I knew what they meant. And so we left from, and I'm literally, I got the layout of the fucking bar still in my head, right? We leave the bar, we walk out this massive, the same opening that I came out. You know, there's a stairway to the left of this, you know, from the bar to the opening. There's a stairway to the left, and we go. There's a huge hallway. We go across that hallway into another hallway where there's a whole bunch of benches and chairs and drawers. And people are in, it's kind of like a restaurant sitting area kind of thing. But they had like, it was like old, very, very old picnic table tables and benches and drawers, and we walk in these columns. They have these big wooden columns, like you see in the middle of a medieval ship or something. And we go to the left, and there's this big massive table, these benches, and we all respectfully go to a drawer and pull it out, me included, like it was our drawer. This is my drawer. And we open it up, and we brought it to the table, and it was full of money, riches, gold, and little medals. Like you have medals. We had ribbons and badges, right? We had badges, and I'm looking through the badges, and I'm looking through the coins, gold coins and different money, and it's all inlaid into this wooden box. And we all take it and put it on. It's all on the table, and we're all looking at it, and we all look around at each other and just kind of smile and like, oh yeah, we're doing this. This is awesome. We checked the things, and then we put them back, and we congratulated each other. It was very serious what we did. Whatever it was a very purposeful thing that we did. I don't know why, and we had to check the things. That's why I was there. That's why we were all there. And I want to say it was like 10 to 15 of us. I don't know. But I knew them, and we were all brothers. And it kind of felt, this is the only really real time when I've actually felt some type of possible, because I don't really believe in reincarnation, so to speak, but this is the only real time that I felt like that's a possibility, that we knew each other in other lives throughout history, and that we convened in this bar to check our treasures together as a community. And then we lit cigars and drank, pulled drinks with each other and told stories at that table. It was like a brotherhood. And we were, skull, cheers. Remember that time he fucking fell off a horse and broke his head? It was kind of like we were telling about our death. It was weird. It's very weird. Oh, there was weapons involved too, right? There were guns. There were somebody had a saber that I liked. He's like, "You really like this saber, don't you?" "Yeah, I like these sabers." "Yeah, but I know you like the freaking axe and the samurai sword." Yeah. So we had conversations like that, and we would show off our things. I remember this dream, man. It still to this day haunts me, but it's obviously a good haunt. And then, as this fellowship, this brotherhood get together just kept on going, people started to pass out, heads literally hitting the table, drink mug still in hand, just boom. And we'd all kind of laugh like, yeah, he's gone, And then, we would talk and look back, they'd be gone. Literally gone. Like, as soon as they passed out, you're like looking at them like, hey, he's passed out. You turn away, they're gone. Seat is empty. Drink is gone. They're gone. Oh, fuck. Where'd they go? Yeah. And one by one that happened. It's like we all drank ourselves out of the dream. and I remember it was down to me and another guy, and we were just hanging out, talking. And I tell him, I was like, I don't want to go yet. I like it here. You know, and he said, yeah, I like it too. Yeah, this is a great place. But you know we can't stay here forever. We have to keep we got to keep moving. We can come back here as much as we like, but we can't stay forever. So, yeah, I know that. I didn't know that, but I knew that in the dream. It's like in the dream, I knew things that when I come out into waking world, I'm like, I don't know this shit. How do I know this? I don't know this. But maybe my consciousness did. Maybe my soul, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it knew. Maybe it knew what those treasures were. Maybe obviously it knew what those treasures were. Obviously it knew who these people were. These people knew me. It was a very profound dream for me. And there's still many, many more things in it that I'm just like, it racks my brain, man. It tugs at my soul. And then I remember going back to the bar to meet my singing friend, and he's gone. Yeah, and there's other people. There were people there from other dreams. I remember I had another dream where it was this guy named, and yes, there was a name associated with this person I met in another dream that was in this dream. His name was Styles Ellis. Yeah, Styles Ellis. I met him in a dream. I was dreaming about a party, a street party in Honduras. Yeah, anyway, he was there. That's another dream entirely. I write that one off too as. But Styles Ellis was stabbing me with things in the other dream. This dream, he was just off in the corner, hanging out, and he just kind of said, "Hey," and I knew it was him because he had a tool belt across his body, across like a bandolier, but it was a tool belt. So he had all these tools and screwdrivers and things of that nature, files and wrenches and shit. But he was, in the other dream, he was talking to me, and he was talking to me in a certain way that was just like, you need to get your shit he was talking to you had that come to Jesus moment talk, or that, hey boy, you fucking up talk. He was talking in that manner. I don't remember what he was saying, but I was so pissed off at him, and he kept coming at me, and he would hit me and push me, that I was taking the things out of his bandolier and stabbing him with it, and it did nothing to him. But he was here in this other dream, off in the corner, and he just kind of nodded, raised his glass, and carried on with this conversation he was having with someone. There were people there that died in my life that just kind of walked by. They wasn't talking to me. They wasn't interacting with me. Some of them didn't even look at me. But I recognized them. I was like, you died 3 years ago. You died 10 years ago. What the hell? And they're just walking, having a good time, hanging out, going about their business. I mean, is that the afterlife? Is that purgatory for you Christians out there? Mine's a bar. Makes sense. There's food, there was drink, like I said, anything you want, right there. There was no fights. You could hear there were people having heated conversations and debates, but it would always end in some type of laughter. It was just a joyous kind of place, chill but vibrant. I'll never forget the energy there. Being with my brothers, checking our treasures, sharing a drink, and leaving one by one. Will I meet them again? Have I met them? I don't know. It's just a very strange dream. The end of the dream. The end of the dream, I remember I said, I gotta go. I said, hey, I gotta go. I just said it out loud. And the guy I was talking to, the one of the last of the brothers, was over on the other end of the opening area of the bar. Right, he was by a big stone fireplace, and he just kind of waved at me and smiled, like, journey well, brother. Take care, brother. We'll meet again. I say, all right, see ya. And boom, everything goes dark, and I wake up. And from that day on, from that night on, that dream has haunted me. Just like, what the fuck did I just experience? Wow. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't taking any psychedelic drugs at the time. In reality, I did drink in the dream, though. I remember they were smoking. People were smoking things. Smoking funny things in the dream. I was like, yeah, that's cool. All right. It just had that kind of weird vibe, It was a cool place. Very cool place. I feel compelled to share this. Just because, for one, to document this dream, because I think it's very important somehow, for me at least, to document it and to share it. What do you think? I am perplexed as you are. To be somewhere and to know people that you don't know, but you know them, and to know things about things, but you don't know. It's like I instantly knew why I was there, what I was doing. Yet, in my waking days, my waking consciousness, I have no fucking clue. I have hints. I have some guesses. I can what if it. I still don't know. The mysteries. Skull. Dreams. It felt like I went somewhere. Like I took a road trip. I took a vacation. And I remember it to this day. This was years ago. Years. It's like going to Disneyland. Never been to Disneyland. Actually, I have, but they were closed. Yeah. But talk about a deja vu. It felt like I knew why I was there, and I knew what to do. But I didn't know. Just going with it. Just going by feel, going by thought. Still strange to this day. It was a different type of reality. It definitely was. I knew I was there. I knew I was very conscious in the dream, extremely conscious. But there's different types of dreams, right? So, if you're just like normal dreaming and you have that dream realization that you're in the dream, you can create the dream. I was not creating this dream. I was not creating this experience. Or maybe I was. Maybe it was using my experiences to create this dream, but it didn't feel like it. Yes, there were familiar things there, familiar people. The place did not feel familiar at all. Yes, but it did. I have never, in waking consciousness, have I ever been to a place of that nature, like that. But in that dream state, I knew what it was. And it felt extremely familiar. Like I said, I have the map downloaded in my head. I could tell you all about it on the inside. Where I went, when I took a left here, took a right there, went up the stairs. There's a hallway over here, there's a hallway over there, there's bathrooms over there, there's a balcony here. It's all mapped out. Yet I've never experienced anything of that nature in the waking consciousness of this world. Strange. The dream states. Like I said before, if you're just normal dreaming, you can realize you're in the dream, kind of like realize you're in the Matrix. You go, oh, I'm dreaming. And I learned this at an early age because I was having terrible nightmares as a kid. And a lot of it was fear and trauma based, sure, of course. But counselors and all that, and people counseling me were like, well, just take charge of the dream and change it. If you're being chased by a monster, boom, you've got a sword in your hand now and you're fighting the monster. Or you turn the monster into a pink fluffy bunny rabbit. I had dreams that I would dream that my mom would get in a car wreck and die. It was just, very just, I would wake up screaming and come to my mom, I dreamed that you died in a car wreck. Of course, it was shocking to her. Funny enough, we did get in a car wreck and she almost died. But it was later on in years. But you learn how to control these dreams. And then you have these lucid dreams where you're watching a movie. I have had the dream where literally as myself I went back to the Marine Corps. Long hair and beard and all. And in this dream, I could see myself as I was holding a camera, like I was holding the camera. I could see myself. I'm doing push-ups. People are yelling at me, why don't you cut your damn hair? Why don't you shave your damn beard? I'm like, no, I don't want to, but I still want to be in the Marine Corps. And it was weird. And I was seeing myself, Another thing in astral projection that we learn is to build your own, and this is a kind of what's it called? I forget the Kriya Yoga. Not so much Kriya Yoga, but it was another practice. Is that you build your deity body. You build your self deity. And you build yourself, right? how you were going to be perceived in the astral plane. Because in the astral plane, what happens is that people see you for what you are. And there is a lot of gruesome looking things out there, souls, if you will, that look like demons or monsters or zombies, and they're fearsome, and they're frightful, and they instill fear if you look at them and go, oh my God, ugh, you know. But in an astral plane, all you have to do is look away, speed of thought, boom. You know, nothing can harm you there. You know, unless you lock onto them and they lock onto you, and then now it's an exchange, you know. But you learn to build this body, give yourself armor, right? You know, whatever, however you want to be perceived, and it's like, you know, if your heart is good, if your energy, if your chakras are aligned and all that shit, you know, you perceive, you build this body of what you're going to be perceived as, based on a actual who you are, and you can't hide it. You're not hiding anything. You're just accentuating who you are. And it's better to be a person of, you know, that's where the whole peace, inner peace and things come from, is that you got to have that discipline and that control. And then you wear that armor, you wear that badge of armor, you know, that, okay, it signifies that you know, you can do that. Or you just want to be, you know, butt ass naked, or, you know, whatever. You know, you're a light being flying through the air, whatever. But it's you build your deity body in an astral projection point. In these lucid dreams where I was seeing myself, I'm observing. I'm watching a movie, and I have I can interact, but I can't change anything. That's how I know it's not a dream. Or so I think. So I hypothesize. Was I in another dimension? Was I in another, you know, unforeseen world? In astral projecting, I never went to another. Well, maybe I did. I do remember ascending and going through gates and things of that nature, and, you know, extremely bright skies and ornate gates in the sky that I was passing through. And I was trying to get to somewhere where you had to go up. But I could also, you know, venture around in the I could float above. One of the favorite things I used to do is float above the earth and watch everybody else, because what happens is when you dream, you do leave your body. You can see them coming out of their body. Everybody. You can actually go visit other people's dreams. You don't really get to see what they're dreaming, but you get to see them leaving their body with this silver stream and their silver outline, you know, ethereal self, and they're going through their dream, but you don't get to see what their dream is. And then you'll see other beings that are just running around going, rah! Right, getting in your face and shit. They know they can see you. The people dreaming can't see me, but I can see them. So you could actually, you know, and if you try to talk to them or whatever, you couldn't, because they're in a dream. You just get to observe them floating all from the earth as they're in the darkness at night when people are sleeping. It was very wild. That was one of my favorite things to do in astral projection. But you could go anywhere. You could boom, center of the universe, center of the galaxy, speed of thought, you know, flying through the space and time, you know, stars flying by, hauling ass. But in an instant, I could be back in my body. Boom. In an instant, I could be in Beijing, China. In an instant, I could be in birthplace Jackson, Tennessee. In an instant, I could be anywhere. Speed of thought. Uh, so it was. It took a lot of, and I'm still not really. It's been a while since I've tried to attempt to astral project. It's a big process. It's a whole process. But that's the thing about the dream is if you're in the dream state, your consciousness is already floating outside of your body. Your body is detached. Your consciousness is detached from your body. Well, it's connected. There is a connection, right? That silver thread that connects you from your third dantian right here, right below your belly button, the umbilical cord. But once you're in that dream, you're already floating outside your body. If you realize you're in the dream, you have a choice. You can stay in the dream, take over the dream, work through some issues and problems, because that's mostly why we dream. Is your mind is processing things. Maybe you had some type of question or dilemma or fear or phobia or something of that nature that happened that day, and your subconscious is working through that problem that you had. Maybe you get cut off, you get pissed off, whatever, and that emotion is you're dealing with it. So you could stay there and do work on yourself, real true work on yourself, right? Or just play in your dream and create this dream world. Or like I said, once you realize you're in the dream, you can leave. Now you're conscious, you're like, see ya. It's easier to go that way. It's easier to go that route. There's less, it's less traumatic. Chances are when you come back, you're going to come right back into your body, because and what your body does is it's at its most relaxed state. It's at its most that's when all the healing happens, because you're so relaxed as your body. You're in deep REM sleep. Your body is absolutely just not moving. All your muscles and everything and your organs are rebuilding and all that stuff. Your cells are rebuilding. All that stuff is happening, right? Yes, you're not privy to all that. You could be. You could come back and observe all that. You realize all that. And you could possibly, hey, put some extra attention on my leg over here. There's a bruise there. Kick the trail of all hitch. But you come back into your body and you wake up and you remember the whole experience. I've had dreams as well, visitation dreams. I guess that's a different type of dream. This is how I know that consciousness survives death. Because people have visited me in my dreams. And they were absolutely vivid dreams, full of color and light, sound, feeling and emotion, sensation. Felt this 3 times. Once when my sister died. She came to my dream. Very briefly, just to say goodbye. And then the other time was when my Sifu died. And he had been dead for a month. I didn't know it. He came to me in the dream. Gave me one last lesson. And I wasn't alone either. There was a black couple there. And oddly enough, we were having this session in his extremely lit bedroom, which was extremely big. And we're having this, just classic kung fu session. One punch, two punch. Get deeper in the horse stance. He's yelling at us. Like that's what he did. He was kind of like a drill instructor, right? And then he just, I remember he says, "You're on notice. You're being noticed. Act accordingly." It was his message. And then he curled up in a ball and laid down. I knew he was dying. And I tried to save him. I tried to, I was like, no. And he used to do a lot of energy work, right? We were doing a lot of energy work stuff, which was absolutely fascinating. That's another story. But I remember I put my hand on his, near his head, and I'm trying to pour in all this energy into his head, and there's a sound, and there's light coming out of it, and he, and I'm like, no, don't go, right? And the couple is behind me watching, and they're just like, please stay with us, please. We're all pleading, and then he goes from on the floor dead to in his bed dead, and someone who looks like his wife comes walking in and says, "Yeah, he passed off. He's gone. He's passed away. Thank you for coming." And then we left. And I was compelled. I didn't know. I was like, oh my God, my Sifu is dead. And I had actually, was a bad teacher, a bad student. I left and was gone for like a couple years. But I always knew where the school was, and I'd come by every now and then, say hi, whatever, or drive by and just look in there with fond memories of all the pain, right? Yeah. And so I looked him up online, and sure enough, there was his obituaries that he had died a month prior. Which prompted me to go back to the school, because they were offering a free Tai Chi class, and it was like an introductory. That's how they get you in the door. I helped start. I was there at the beginning of the school. It was kind of weird. I was there at the beginning, and there was hopes that I was going to become a disciple and, be a disciple of Sifu. At the time, he wasn't Sifu, he was Lao Shi, right? Uncle, right? So he wasn't a Sifu. And I met his Sifu, Greg Zib, Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu Studios. This was he's from New York, Long Island. This is where the school is. But his school, Sifu Fred Christie, his school was in Myrtle Beach. He came to Myrtle Beach to retire, and he was in his 70s. Yeah. A retired firefighter. Anyway, fascinating story about him, I've told it before, but it prompted me to go to the school and take this free class, which was being taught by these people I didn't know, right? The school had went through some changes, and yes, the shrine was there. His shrine was there with his picture, and we were, after our little class and everything, which I was kind of emotional. I was going through this emotional roller coaster in the school. So it was probably very shocking to them. And so after we had this whole Tai Chi class and whatever, they was like, okay, at this time, find a quiet place somewhere and meditate. And I literally sat in front of the altar and meditated, and said my goodbyes. I could feel that energy. Sifu had this amazing energy, amazing. You could feel it. If he reached out his hand to you, you could feel it. If he grabbed you, you could feel it. If he hits you, you could feel it. But when we were doing this energy work, and you close your eyes, and he would come by and just kind of like, just you would feel it. It felt like just vibrating electricity, just passing from his hand into your body. It was intense, in the Tai Chi and Qigong and energy work, there stuff we were doing. It's amazing stuff. Opened my mind, and that's where I got into astral projection. And I came to him, with like, hey, I just astral projected. He's like, oh yeah, that happens, man, because you're doing this whole you're doing this betterment thing. You're taking the journey. You're on this journey, so of embetterment and enlightenment. So yeah, you're gonna have that. It's like a side effect, and this is what you're gonna go through. It's like, yeah, that's what I went through. Yeah, this is what you need to do. Yeah, wow, okay. So next time you do this, this, and this, and you don't have to worry about this, and he explained everything. And it was just, I'm so lucky to have known and met him, and I feel very bad that I left the school, walked away from the school, because I was pursuing other dreams. I was young and stupid. I should have stuck with it. But yeah, he came to me in that dream. Or was it a dream? I don't know. A goodbye dream. Definitely a visitation. And then another time, this one is kind of disturbing. I had a roommate. Well, I was lucky enough. Me and Charity were lucky enough to when we left her place, Charity's place that she lived at in the swamp on the golf course. After we got evicted, lucky enough to meet this woman named Linda, 65 years old. She had 3 cats. I had Charity. She basically said, "You can stay here, right, in my apartment. Pay me some rent. Rent's very cheap. Whatever. I like you. Whatever." So I lived with her for many a years. And we had a very, very peaceful and interesting existence. She was 65 years old. She had a lot of health problems, but she had a shine to me. She really, really liked me. Like she used to say it, like, if I was just 20 years younger, you would not be safe in your bed. I'm like, shut up. No. It's kind of like grandma. Like, no, grandma. No. She had the hots for me. And, I did love her dearly. She opened her home to me. Her life, we shared life experiences and stories, and she told me everything about her. We were family. We were definitely family. But then she passed away. Yeah, she her health. She had diabetes. She had all kinds of heart failures and all this stuff associated with diabetes and things. And her health just went down, and she eventually passed away. I was there for her many times. I had to call the ambulance. In the apartment when she was messed up. She fell down, like she would fall down in the middle of the night trying to get to the bathroom, and she would be laying on the floor, and she had her life alert. There'd be a knock at the door, and it's the ambulance. I'm like, why are y'all here? Oh shit. And or I'd call the ambulance. There was one time when I raced her. I got her in my car. She was having she was passing out. I ran 100 miles an hour through traffic to the hospital to drop her off, at the emergency room. And there was, I was there for her. And she had 3 cats. This is where I inherited 3 cats. So this dream, that's the backstory, right? We lived in an apartment complex in Myrtle Beach. And so she passed away. And literally a few days after that, I have this dream where I'm literally we're laying on a picnic blanket in the middle of the grass in the apartment complex, outside the apartment complex. It's beautiful. It's, South Carolina. There's lakes there. There's green grass, and she's having her way with me in this dream. I'm like, I'm feeling kind of violated. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling kind of violated, but I did it anyway. It's like I had no choice in this, and it was very lucid dream, a very lucid dream. I remember the sun, I remember the green grass, the white blanket. I remember her having her way with me, and we laid there after she was done with me. She always wanted me, right? Even though she was a 65-year-old woman, she always wanted me. She's like, right? After I'm just laying there, we're both just laying there on the blanket, and I was like, wow, okay. And I was like, I guess you got what you need. I guess you got what you needed, or got what you. Yeah, I think I said you get. I guess you got what you needed. I didn't say got what you wanted. I said, I guess you got what you needed. And she got up and was laughing, and walked away, into the apartments, like in the hallway, and disappeared. I never seen her again. And she just kind of kept looking back at me, like just smiling, like goodbye, see ya. And that was her dream. That was her visitation. It's kind of disturbing. Yeah. So those are the three visitation dreams I've had after somebody died. The last one there being the most. It was extreme. It was extreme. Now I have to say I've had another dream. Probably this is the fourth one, and it did involve an old girlfriend, which I don't know. And I don't know if I should say this or not. I can protect the innocent, I guess. But when I knew this girl, and I was 15, she was 14. We were living in a rural type area. Hood projects, always projects, right? Yeah, from one projects to the other. And we were a thing, and she was a virgin at the time, and I was her first. So I think that was that whole connection there. And so throughout the course of years, a year or two that we dated, and we're having sex and everything, just being young teenagers, right? Finally we broke up, and of course I got sent to reform school. She met this guy, got married, and I've kept tabs with her, and she moved on, and she got married and had kids with this guy. This guy had one leg. Well, actually he had two legs, but the one that he walked on was kind of missing, if you catch my drift. So, yeah, he was a freaking tripod. So she marries him, and after the years and graduation and all that, throughout the years of growing into adults, and I checked her out and looked her up. And yeah, she's, Facebook tells you everything. And she's got kids, and I see pictures of kids, and I see pictures of him and her. I'm like, wow, that's great. I'm happy. I'm happy for her, right? And it's just, I'm not jealous. I'm not anything like that. I'm just happy. I'm glad. And this was a recent dream. And it's the same kind of sexual dream. And I'm thinking it's because, she was a virgin during her first, her first time that we had sex. And it's an extremely, this is a very adult conversation, right? So when you're having sex, and I was not being forceful, I was very gentle, very respectful, right? And it was a very, when you have that connection, it's on a spiritual level sometimes. And we connected, boom, souls connected during that intercourse. It was her first time, and I felt it, she felt it, I felt that she felt it, and she knew that I knew that she knew, and what I'm saying? It was like, wow, this is amazing, this is amazing sex. And it was her first time, and she enjoyed it, and it was that soul connection. And I had this dream not too long ago, maybe about a week, maybe less, where she was having sex with me in the dream. And it was in her apartment, in her bedroom at the time, because we always fooled around in her bedroom. And I was like, wow, that's weird, strange. And I knew it was her. I seen her face, but not really didn't see her face. But I knew it was her because she threw a clock at me. And we have a history about a clock. So I think I've told you about this clock. We were very experimental as young teenagers, and she wanted to toss my salad, and I farted in her face. She automatically rose up, grabbed a clock, and clocked me upside the head with it, knocking me off the bed, as I was laughing my ass off because I was that kind of kid. And so, in this dream, she didn't hit me with the clock. She just tossed it at me like, haha. So I knew it was her. So it makes me wonder, is she gone? I don't know yet. And I'm afraid to look. Do I really want to know? Or do I want to just, hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for memories. I acknowledge our experience. So dreams, yeah, dreams. So thank you, Wingnut Anarchy Television, for inspiring this. I'm getting all kinds of muse and inspiration from all y'all out there, especially right now in this time in my life where I'm actually doing work that is smart. I've only had a few jobs in my lifetime where they're very technical, and this is one of those technical jobs that I'm like, wow. So I'm focusing everything I have on that. It's been a challenge too. Which, me being who I am, I have to have some kind of creative outlet, or I get very manic. I have to be creative. I need some kind of creative outlet. And so, yeah, I think this is one of those. Just tapping into that. Because I don't want to go completely insane. and just turn into a raving manic monster at work and in life. So it's very important for me to tap into some kind of creativity, or I don't want to say esoteric anymore. It's, metaphysical even. I don't know. I don't even like that word either. So, but something of that nature. Energy thing, whatever. Foo-fooey, pseudosciences. Many names that the ancients have for it. I don't know. You have to be careful about that, because that will lead you down that slippery slope and path into, a type of, I don't even like the word demonic, but something evil, which for me, these outer body experiences and things of that nature have been very enlightening. And I could have these kind of same conversations with just about any religious person that have had the same kind of experiences. So it's a very positive thing for me. But I just wanted to share that one dream, and of course all the other dreams that I've shared. Although this is not made for kids. This is definitely the rantings and ravings of a madman. But I think it's very important to, really look back at our dreams and the ones that really stick with us. Kind of ask that question. Was it really a dream? So I'm going to end it here. Yeah. So I thank you for hanging out with me. And yeah, the reason I'm making this dream real late at night, I can't sleep, for one. And because just got me in my feels, got me thinking, got me pondering. Yeah. And maybe if I go to sleep, will I actually dream? Will you dream? So, this has been Mad Shad. Skull. Sweet dreams.